What's going on, everybody? This is John J Gaming on the mic here, coming at you with a brand new episode of the FCS Dynasty here on NCAA 06, featuring that next mod as well, as we are getting ready to wrap up week number 9 action here in year number 4, and a lot of intriguing action here as we are going to check in on the night games here of week number 9. It's going to be a good one, man. Make sure you go ahead, smack that like button, hit that subscribe button if you have to be brand new, as we start things off with the vaunted Georgia Southern offense led by Blake Williams and Ikeata Woods, and they are taking on not Elon Musk but the Elon Phoenix out in North Carolina. Elon gonna have their hands full in this one, but they do force a 4th down early though. We'll see if they can do something no other team has done this year. Get Georgia Southern off the field on 4th down. Ikeata does not make a man miss, but he does pitch it out onto the perimeter. And not only is it going to be a 1st down, but it's going to also be a touchdown as well. Georgia Southern, no surprises here. They are going to get on the board, as that is Whitaker that gets the touchdown. But that's not the only touchdown that we'll see tonight, as Ikeata Woods breaks a couple of tackles, and he does something that he breaks the Division I record for most rushing touchdowns in a career. Not by a quarterback, but by any player in Division I history. He gets 74 rushing touchdowns, and he had to earn that thing too. He had to stiff arm a couple of defenders in the process. He was certifying him for sure, as Elon continues to struggle through this game, as David Abdullah gonna get a 2nd sack of the match here, and it's gonna set up Georgia Southern beautifully, starting off inside the 10-yard line because of it. Can Georgia Southern make it 21-0? Ikeata Woods gets it out to the right-hand side and runs it in once again. Touchdown, Georgia Southern, and that makes it rushing touchdown number 75 in the iconic and decorated career of Ikeata Woods. Congratulations to him on what he's been able to accomplish. There's a lot of football left, not only in this season, but in this football game, though. And Elon, they ain't going down without a fight, as we get a beautiful throw down the right-hand side. I mean, you guys saw how deep that throw was, and Elon just now has positive yards. But great play there on the football, as now Elon gets across midfield for the very first time today. David Baxter made the catch, by the way. He's one of your customs, as now going to try to go over to the left-hand side and gets absolutely tattooed. Christmas season is here because he got absolutely lit up like a Christmas tree. 1st down, Elon, no. But unfortunately, it is going to end bittersweet, though, as we will see a Georgia Southern interception that will go ahead and make it 21-0. Still, that was Leslie that was able to get in there and get in on the coverage. So now Ikeata Woods comes back at it once again, makes one person miss in open field, and Ikeata Woods, man, he is just so darn fast. No one's going to be able to catch him out in the backfield, and it is getting very ugly very quickly to start this episode. That time, it's a 91-yard touchdown run. You cannot make this up, as Woods gets out into the open field, and that's going to be yet another touchdown. Huge lead here for the Georgia Southern Eagles, as now Woods gets it out on the perimeter once again after another empty possession by Elon, and Ikeata Woods, man, just making it look easy right now. Another rushing touchdown. We're starting to lose count over here. That might have been his 4th rushing score. Y'all let me know how in the comments if I got that off track by any means, but the entire offense of Georgia Southern just rolling at an extraordinarily high level. That one being a 65-yard touchdown, not by Ikeata Woods, but that is going to be Blake Williams, the veteran running back, that will be able to get some more points on the board, even able to hit that good old step back cheese. Some things don't change, whether it be NCAA 14 or even NCAA 06. You know, so some things, you know, are still a thing of beauty no matter what PlayStation generation it is. But we do get a turnover here by E1, and that is going to be recovered by DeAndre Dowdell II, as that is the junior custom vet. Is able to return it downfield for a few yards as well, as looks like that was made loose by another defensive back. And Ikeda Woods actually going to try to pass the football before the end of the first half. Last play of the first half, by the way. And Ikeda Woods will cap his night off with a passing touchdown. And it was a slaughter to start this episode. Georgia Southern, they win 83-10. Elon stood no chance in this one. So let's see if the other games that we have featured in this episode are a little bit more competitive. We are down to the 8 o'clock slate, so this is primetime television. You know, folks just coming home from work or, you know, from planned activities on Saturday night. And we got a good matchup here in the Big 12 Conference. We got Western Carolina taking on Southern in a game that has a lot of implications. This is for the Southern Division, getting that inside track into there. Not saying either team would clinch it outright. You know, still a lot of football left to be played, obviously. But Western Carolina, they're playing more so for pride because they cannot compete for the FCS playoffs. They are still under NCAA sanctions. That does end after this season. They will be able to take part in that in year number 5 if they are competitive enough, / if we do make it to a year number 5. But they got to find a way to deal with Justin Jones, former number 1 recruit. He's going to be able to move a massive chunk of yards off the field, and he's going to lead his team to a nice opening drive touchdown. That is Carla Pace. That is going to pace his way into the end zone. So an early 7-0 lead here for the Southern Jaguars, as they're looking good on the ground, but then Pace puts the ball on the ground here, and Western Carolina, they are going to stumble upon said fumble. And now Western Carolina, they have a chance to get some points on the board as well. They got a pretty good football team over there, even though they have those sanctions, and they do eventually turn that into a field goal, as again to less than 70 seconds left to play here in the first half. We'll see if Justin Jones can come through and lead a last minute drive to help extend the lead going to the end of the first half. As now Jones dropping backs, got a little bit of time, throws to the left hand side, it's caught, and it gets across midfield, not to mention finding a way to get out of bounds. That is a massive boost that you certainly love to see there. That's going to save a little bit of time and timeouts. Later on in the drive, 13 seconds left. Southern going to get it out the pace on the perimeter. One of the last plays of the first half, and Southern is going to find the end zone. Touchdown, Jaguars, as Justin Jones gets his first passing touchdown of the game, as he's trying to, you know, bounce back from some pretty difficult performances that we have seen thus far in the year. And this is a good way to do that. Southern with a 14-3 lead going into the second half. We'll see if they can put together a complete effort, and it looks like they just might be, as Pace running down the sideline, running away from the Catamount defense. Touchdown, Southern, and that is an 80-yard score, and that is just the beauty of this offense. You know, we will see Pace get flagged for unsportsmanlike conduct, so it did lead to a long extra point attempt. Still good, so I had to point that out. But this is when this offense is most dangerous. Justin Jones, he's really athletic, and Pace is a really good running back in his own right. They're a hard combination to stop, as now we go and see if Western Carolina has some sort of answer here. They are in some deep trouble. Keep in mind, Western Carolina also has their backup quarterback, Jermaine Cummings. He has not played prior to this season, so not a lot of experience under his belt. Could be some trouble, and Cummings throws a very deadly interception here. That's Roth that is able to get his eyes in the sky, as that will stop Western Carolina from getting anything going on offense, although Southern cannot capitalize either, so it stays 21-3 as Cummings gets it out to the tailback. Tailback takes it down the sideline, tries to fight for extra yards. There is a scramble for the football. Eventually, we see somebody coming out of that pile, and it ends up being the junior custom zoo animal that is going to be able to get his paws on the football. And that does directly lead into yet another Southern touchdown that will make it 28-3 in favor of the Jaguars. They're trying to make a statement and really trying to prove themselves too that game that they had last week against Grambling State, that was a fluke. They are a lot better than what they showed on tape, and so far they're showing a lot of focus. But it's not a perfect day for Southern either. Western Carolina, they will find the end zone eventually in the final minute of this game. It will not really do much to influence the final score, but you know, it's a nice run there by Johnson. He is one of the better running backs in this conference, but still doesn't change that final result, like I said, as Southern really comes out and makes a huge statement under the night lights. They win this game by a final score of 31-10. It's a very good win for the Southern Jaguars there, as Southern, they're going to improve their record to 5-2, and they look to be in a really great spot to get back to the FCS playoffs. It'll be their first playoff appearance since, I believe, year number 1. That was the last time Southern made the playoffs. Western Carolina, of course, they go to 5-2. They still have a lot to play for. They can still compete for a conference championship, but, well, that's remaining to be seen. But the last game that I wanted to show to you guys here tonight, you know, a little bit of a shorter episode than most FCS videos. We got James Madison going on the road against Hampton. Now, I haven't really talked much about James Madison as of late in this season. You know, that's because, you know, James Madison, they're number 19, and their opponents haven't been that great either. But this game was on national television, so, you know, we're going to check in on them, see how they can find that mojo. Taking on a Hampton team that is in the bottom 20 in terms of national rankings in the FCS, and they're also missing their 2 top receivers, Jordan Hawkins and Yuna Minamoto, both really talented sophomore wide receivers. Could be a tremendous challenge for Hampton. I would be shocked if this is not a blowout, but you never know in this crazy world of college football. And you can see right away, you know, that talent that is on James Madison's team still. Got Jonathan Henderson for starters. He is a junior, kind of a forgotten piece of the Duke's offense, but he's really good. And now James Madison looking to get downfield, looking down the middle of the field, throws it up, and it's gonna be caught. Touchdown, James Madison, as David Forn is gonna come down with it here. One-on-one coverage, and David Forn, he was just using that absolutely elite size that he has. This is perfect for what he does. I mean, the corner that was in coverage just never really had a chance there. It is a 7-0 lead already for James Madison, but Rodgers having a little bit of an off day here. I'm not talking about Aaron Rodgers. I'm talking about Stephen Rodgers, not to confuse the two by any means, but Hampton does get a turnover, and that is huge if you're trying to pull the upset. That would mean a lot to their program, as this would help them get some bigger time prospects, you know, coming in from the high school ranks, trying to build it up that kind of way. And that does lead to a touchdown eventually. So Hampton's going to actually take the lead here with 3:21 left to play here in this second quarter. Something to watch out about. Remember, James Madison, not the most consistent squad here in year number 4. Some people might dare to say that O word, that overrated, dare I say it. But, you know, it is what it is. So Hampton still has a 10-7 lead. Chris Jones doing his thing as well. We'll see if Hampton can build off of this, but a untimely interception as well. If Hampton was going to get that upset, they really needed to score on that drive. At least get the field goal. That did not happen. James Madison able to get a field goal themselves, but still all knotted up at 10 apiece. Halfway through the third quarter, starting to get some belief from the youngsters as Jones gets it out to one of his receivers, and that's going to be a touchdown for the Pirates at home. James Madison, they sent the pressure, so it was one-on-one coverage. Jose Poyola cannot cover the tight end or make the tackle, so that's a double whammy there. And now James Madison down by a touchdown, 17-10. Do they have the juice? Steffens looking back. He's going to throw it on his back foot. Double coverage, looking to get that off to Jody Gentry, and it lands in the hands of a Hampton defender. The Pirates might actually win this game. This would be the shock of this episode if this score can hold. Can Hampton take advantage and make this a 2-score gain? Chris Jones on the quarterback draw, but gets absolutely blown up and obliterated by the first down marker. And James Madison, they get that critical fumble that they're looking for, but now they need their offense to respond. Rodgers dropping back. He's got a clean pocket. Throws it over the middle of the field and finds David Thorne right in the middle of that defense. That's a huge touchdown. One that James Madison, they badly needed that in the worst way. And now we got a tie ball game going into the final stretch. Who wants it more? Hampton, on their next possession, they do end up going 3 and out, so they have to go ahead and punt this football away. Up in the air, gets it up. David Thorne is there to receive it and just using that athleticism to find the end zone. Touchdown, Dukes. And David Thorne with over 200 yards of offense, a few touchdowns to his name as well. And maybe James Madison might be able to leave Hampton, Virginia with their lives and their FCS playoff hopes, still have that candle burning as well. Because, listen, if they find a way to lose this game, which is, by the way, great catch by Brad Aldrauzi, one of your guys' custom players as well. But if James Madison loses this game, I would imagine their FCS playoff hopes would be completely dashed. They're already sitting at 2 losses. It's now 24-17. Rodgers looking over the left-hand side, but he throws the interception. Oh no! What they needed to avoid, they do the pure opposite. So now Hampton has a chance to tie this game. Oh boy, does Hampton have what it takes? Can they pull the upset of historic proportions? We're going to see what this team is made of. Jones dropping back, but it's going to be sacked by Jose Pilo. 4th and 22 coming up, and it's a huge decision here. Do you go for it, or do you punt the football away? And they decide to do the latter, deep in their own territory. They don't want to risk it for the biscuit. Defense has been playing solid, so unless special teams does what they need to do, should be looking fine. But unfortunately, David Thorne gets loose once again. It's another touchdown for James Madison, and it's now 31-17. Later on in the game, less than 2 minutes left, trying to ice Rodgers right-hand side and gets it out to Kevin Crum, who's going to fight through a defender. And despite having literally half as many first downs, they're going to start forcing Hampton to take their timeouts. They still got a couple left to work with, but now the time's not going to be on their side, especially if James Madison gets a touchdown here. If they get a touchdown, this game just might be barbecue chicken. We'll see what this Hampton defense can do. They've been playing really out of their minds for, what they're typically capable of. It's now 1:33 left to play. Still, we're going to hand it off on the ground. Going to keep it safe, and turns out to be a good call. Able to get it into the end zone. That is not BJ Bowers, but still a good run. Thinking about BJ Bowers, I think he's off to the NFL. But either way, rushing touchdown for James Madison. A pretty rare thing to see nowadays. They are a pretty pass-heavy offense. So 38-17 is now going to be your score. And Hampton, they're going to try to make this as entertaining as possible. They will throw it deep downfield, try to get something to happen. And surprisingly, they do. They do get one catch downfield. That'll at least get them a little bit started. They got a little something going here. That will help Hampton's chances greatly, as Jefferson on the verge of 100 yards. He's having a career day. They actually go with the toss play out to the left-hand side, though, and that will get Hampton into the end zone. Touchdown, Pirates. And it's a 2-touchdown game. Now, they're going to need some onside kicks. They need a little bit of help in that department if they want to come back and win this game. And, that just didn't happen. So, James Madison, they win this game, a game that they're supposed to win, honestly. But that being said, 38-24, much more competitive than I thought this was going to be. So even though Hampton is going to lose, once again, they're now 1-5. Nothing to be ashamed of. This was a very good performance for Hampton. They just don't have the same horses that James Madison brings in, on a recruiting cycle. They got to work on bringing in impact freshmen, and if they can do that, then Hampton has a real shot of being competitive in the future. But before we check out any new movement in the top 25 as well as updates to the Heisman Trophy race, let's take a quick look at some of the late 9 games that went down, at least some of them. San Diego State, they had an interesting challenge against South Dakota, as San Diego State was barely able to pull it out, winning 16-15 on the road. They narrowly avoid their second loss. Now, someone that will be going outside of the top 25 for sure, once the new AP poll is released, we got the Sanford Bulldogs losing to Murray State in conference play. So Sanford will now be 4-3 on the season. They lose 32-28. And Murray State picks up a big win here. San Houston State, however, continues to look impressive here in the FCS season. Year number 4 is looking kind for the Cardiac Cats, as the number 7 team in the nation beats Furman 37-20. Also staying in the top 25 for now is the Rice Owls, who went on the road to take on Charleston, and Rice does end up winning 34-27. Rice is at 5-2 and remains in the hunt for the FCS playoffs. Rounding out the late night update, we got Texas Southern also able to narrowly win against Alabama State 17-12, and that does keep them alive for the conference championship game. And we do also see Western Kentucky take down their rivals in Youngstown State 33-30 in overtime, by the way. And Western Kentucky continuing to have a nice season. They're now 6-2 on the year as they take down the Youngstown State Penguins. So with all the FCS action officially completed, we check out who's on the Sports Illustrated magazine real quick, and that is Eastern Michigan after their shocking loss to Ohio. What ripple effects will that have in the AP Top 25? Of course, we're going to go ahead and check that out right now. And at the very top, there's not a ton of change. We do still see Georgia Southern at number 1, but Utah State is now at number 2 in the country. They're receiving 21-60 first place votes. Up to number 3 is Sacramento State after their close call against Montana State. Sam Houston State, however, does get up to number 4. They got that 17-point win over Furman. At 5 is Akron, who was on a bye last week, followed by the New Hampshire Wildcats, who just escaped the perils of defeat. They got that 5-point win over the Aggies. Now Southern moves up 7 spots after an impressive win over Western Carolina, but where do the Catamounts end up? We do see the Bison at number 8. Eastern Michigan falls from number 2 down to number 9, but still in a good spot to make it to the FCS playoffs. Portland State, after their 1-touchdown loss to Eastern Washington, they fall 6 spots as well, but they are still in the top 10. Texas Southern as number 11. Eastern Kentucky is down from number 6 after their 17-point loss to the Southeast Missouri State Redhawks. In the second half of the AP poll, the Northern Arizona Lumberjacks are up to 13 after their 31-point win over Idaho State. San Diego State is at 14. They move up 3 spots. As for the 15th best team, that goes to the Redhawks of Southeast Missouri State. They've rebounded well and are firmly in the AP Top 25. James Madison, in spite of a less than impressive performance against Hampton, they do move up a few spots as well. Western Carolina falls 6 spots to number 17 after a 21-point loss to the Southern Jaguars. Now, they can't make it to the FCS playoffs anyways due to current NCAA sanctions. At 18, we got Tennessee Tech. They're up a few spots. South Carolina State is up a few spots as well after their blowout against Maine. Rice is still hanging in there at number 20. Western Kentucky, close win against the Youngstown State Penguins, but they are up to number 21 in the country. Few teams, though, entering the top 25. Central Michigan's at 22. We will also see Southeastern in here at number 24. And finally, the Arkansas Pine Bluff Golden Lions, they're at number 25 in the country after a close call against Mississippi Valley State. Now, that being said, there is still a few teams out there that are receiving additional votes as well. Alcorn State is one of them. They're at just over 100 votes, alongside Weber State, Eastern Illinois, and the Blue Hens of Delaware. So this now takes us to our Heisman watch as of right now, and sitting in first place for the time being is Jonathan Bauer. The junior redshirt has 7 catches for 91 yards in their game against the University of South Dakota. He's having a great season overall. He's got 70 catches and 14 touchdowns. But we do see the rest of the field start to catch up, though, as Ikedo Woods surges to number 2 in the Heisman race. He has over 1,000 yards rushing and 19 total touchdowns in that option offense. Also benefiting from the success of Georgia Southern is Blake Williams. He has 1,200 all-purpose yards and 14 touchdowns himself. He's number 3 as of right now. But he is not the only running back that's in this list, though. Jason Shaw is back in the Heisman watch, sitting at number 4 with those 1,800 all-purpose yards and 14 touchdowns. Finally, to round out the field for the Heisman watch is Ryan Vaughn, the sophomore from San Diego State. He is having a good season as well, 2,100 yards and 27 touchdowns, the best pure passer that we have in the FCS Dynasty right now. And finally, this takes us to our NCAA Players of the Week. We start on the offensive side of football. David Thorne, the junior wide receiver from James Madison, he had himself a career day against the Hampton Pirates. In their 2-touchdown win, he had almost 300 all-purpose yards, plus 4 total touchdowns as well. He was the offense for James Madison last night. And finally, on the defensive side of the football, we got the junior linebacker from Eastern Washington. It's Paul Bonner. The junior had 7 tackles, which one of them was behind the line of scrimmage, but that's not the biggest story. He had 2 interceptions in that game against Portland State, returned 1 to the crib, and that defensive touchdown was what put Eastern Washington over the top, as they're now sitting above 500. So guys, that officially takes us to week number 10 of FCS action. We are on the finish line of year number 4, regular season action. So what that does mean is not only will we have that usual complement of 8 games in the next episode, we will also take a look at the conference standings to keep you up to date on the various conference championship races that are happening around the NCAA down here at the FCS level. So guys, the action is going to heat up. We are closing in on playoff action to figure out which 24 teams will be fighting for that national championship opportunity, and you're not going to want to miss a single thing. So guys, if you want to help a brother out here, as this does take a while to put together, make sure you do me a massive favor. Smack that like button, as that does help me out with the YouTube algorithm. And shoot, if you're brand new to the channel as well and you like what you see with this sim league, hit that subscribe button. I would truly appreciate that. But with that, this is John J. Gaming on the mic signing off. I'm hoping you're all out there having a good one. Take care, everybody.